Hey yo, it's your boy Sam Duke,
It's your man Tim McKell.
It's your boy Warren P.
and you are listening to another great episode of You
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 Good,
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 bruh?
bruh?
Bruh? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back again. This is the first episode of the brand new year.
Yep.
Uh,
Like
we got
Anita
a
Baker.
we got off to a
Been
late
so
start,
long.
It be like that sometimes.
but it's
Been so
cool, man.
long.
I'm glad to see you fellas. I'm glad to speak with you fellas.
It's a blessing.
It's a
It
blessing
is.
to be able to speak to y'all in 2024. Uh, I think that my assumption is we've all been having plenty of conversations since our last get together, and so
Yeah.
let's discuss
All
what's
right.
been on our plate, what we've been talking about.
Uh, I'll start. I'll just say that, for me, the other day, um, it's not necessarily dating the episode or anything, but the other day I had a conversation that I'm still trying to process because part of it I got triggered, and I think that was because of who I was talking to more so than what we were talking about. And family has that ability to kind of get you out the pocket, and I think everybody can relate to that. And why you start laughing?
Cuz you saved my life and my family's life. But I'll
Oh,
tell that story later on. Go
okay.
continue on, Mikhail.
The
Fair
story is
enough.
forthcoming. There you go.
Fair enough. We put that on. That's a nice little tease. Anyway, so I think the conversation was about marriage, and I guess necessarily the roles and how the argument was, what it should be versus what it is, and I think that we are just in this toxic place when it comes to the topic of marriage because people have construed or they'll pull out the things that they feel benefit what they do. Like for example, I used to be really into the feminine role is to receive and the masculine role is to, and I just started kind of digging into that, and I was like,
The divine masculine and
yeah, the
divine
divine, yeah,
femininity.
and I'm like, well, for one, why did I buy into this? Because that's not really, I haven't found it noted that way in any scripture, right? The man has a role, and that was based on society at that time. The woman has a role, and it was based on society at that time. And society today is different than biblical times. So, how is it that we are applying things that are socially attached to a biblical role? Because marriage is supposed to be an institution of the church. Marriage is supposed to be about family, doing what's best for family. And here we are at high over 50% divorce rate, marriage rate low. 80% of the divorces are coming from one side of the marriage. I'll let y'all take the hint.
Women,
Yeah, man,
And
pull it up. We can
misogynist is
speak on
back,
it.
baby.
but they're the ones that are the greatest purveyor of this language that is almost cultish the way that they go about it. So I just been kind of processing through it and trying to see, is this thing salvageable the way it is? Because me personally, I look at the data. That's who I am. I'm boring that
Yeah.
way. And but because data to me is truth. There's a difference between believing something and knowing something. And I'm into the knowing.
Man, you know what? I'll take it deeper for you, brother, because you're talking about the data. It's the difference between knowing something and understanding something.
Mm,
And I think that when you start to understand things, then you start to understand the context around those things and where the connections are being made. And I think that this brings a very, very good point to the conversation about the greater good within our space. Like, are we doing these things that we're doing now for the greater good? Like, family is a concept for me that's about the greater good, because family creates communities. Communities create societies, cities, nations, whatever the case may be. And when we fall into the space where everyone is only looking at the beneficial parts, the part that only benefits them, right? Not in dismissing the parts that may not be as beneficial to them. I
Mhm.
think that that's where we start to get into the slippery slope of, like shit. Are we doing this for us? Are we doing this for you?
Right.
Is this about your comfort, or is this about the comfort
Us.
of the whole? Yeah,
Right.
like the comfort of the whole. And and I think that what you're saying about it becoming cultish, and I think we want to call a thing, want to be as clear as possible. I think that there is a space where the value of a man is been diminished in order to benefit what women get out of these relationships. And 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 I think that that's something we have to really start to take a look at. It's I think that there's spaces where, we've talked about how relationships have become more transactional, right?
Right.
and but that was the street relationships. That was the shake that ass bitch type of
Shake my
Mhm.
relationship.
booty
That's,
with
I'm
your
going to
gap
the
clap.
strip club, I throw you some money, you shake your ass type
Right.
of relationship. But we starting to see some of that culture seep into the marital relationship,
Right.
where it's like it's becoming what you do for me, and what, what I'm saying, like, and what do you, it's the whole table conversation. It's like,
Right.
when you're married, we are doing this together, not what do you bring, what do y'all, married people don't have that conversation. That's the
Well,
people,
But
well,
no,
they
they
shouldn't,
shouldn't.
well,
They
they
shouldn't.
shouldn't they
okay.
shouldn't and I think that's the point that we're trying to get to, is like that's seeping into the way people are looking at the marriage situation a little bit. I think that's my take on it a little bit.
And let me ISO, ISO, break the triangle up. I'm at the top of the key with it. First and foremost, I do want to say this. Some of you, fuck it. Some of you niggas deserve to be divorced. Some of y'all are abusive, physically, verbally, don't appreciate, the great women that you have, and
Mhm.
deserve to be divorced. I know a couple of men personally who have their wives initiated those divorce, and I supported those women 100%
Mhm.
because of the situations that that man placed that woman in, to whereas it was better for her mentally, spiritually, physically to leave those situations. We're not talking about those situations when we have these discussions about um women leaving men, or wanting to benefit from a situation. Those niggas deserve to be on the island by themselves, and never, unless they make drastic changes, having a good woman in their life. So I want
Thank you
that to
for
be
pointing that
understood
out. Thank you for pointing that out. that
as we
that's
go
that's a
forward.
good
Yeah.
something to put the
So
outliers out there.
now I'm gonna put my misogynist hat back on. But just joking. Just joking. They're
Oh
just
Lord,
jokes.
this
They're
nigga,
just jokes.
man.
But I think, honestly, yeah, I don't think most people are bred in this culture, especially in the US, are bred to be in a successful relationship. As Sam and Mikkel alluded to, things are very transactional. Things are not as familial as things used to be. It used to be put the family first. If you look on any social media site, let's say, all right, let's take a topic as simple as, hey, don't put my business out in the streets. What goes in this house stays in this house. And I'm not saying, like, if somebody's, being molested, or there's some type of abuse being there, that needs to be reported, and those sickos need to be handled. I'm just talking about regular business that should stay within that community, within that household. People will sell that out for clicks. People will sell that out for attention. People will sell that out for money and things of that nature. Mind you, I'm not the biggest Wendy Williams fan out there. I can't stand the woman, but I most people would be okay with saying, "Hey, I don't like this woman, so I'm gonna watch this documentary with her going through this sickness and this illness." But what I did take from not just seeing a 15-second clip, I could see people taking advantage of a family member just to have some type of money, just to have some type of resources. So plugging that back into the relationship and the marriage aspect, we have created a culture to whereas we are excused for putting a loved one to the side, putting someone we care about to the side for our own selfish nature. And I know this concept may be outdated, but all right. Me and Mikhail had a conversation. My wife was in the room and he asked about the like if your daughter did OnlyFans or something like that. And I had said I would be embarrassed. I wouldn't want her to do that. I had because it's bad reputation on the family. You look at other cultures, I won't say the other cultures, but family is still at the forefront. Education and family are at the forefront. And we build around that. We sacrifice around that. And in this day and age, I think, oh well, a person will say to me, well, your daughter on OnlyFans, is she getting money? Oh, if she's getting money, then why do you care about her reputation? Or why do you care about that? Oh, your son out here selling drugs, putting crack in the community, got crackheads and Jays out here doing this. Well, he getting money. Like, I don't see what the big problem is. Like, in that type of thought process,
Drug dealing and OnlyFans are not the same. Just put a disclaimer out there.
when it, hey, look, I come from Columbus, Georgia, deep
Well,
south.
here's the better
Hey, they
comparison.
both, they
What if the son has OnlyFans?
Okay, all right, fuck it. It's the same. It would be the same
Okay,
thing. Where
that
it's
would be
like,
apples to
yo,
apples.
you embarrassing your mama, you embarrassing your grandma, you embarrassing granddad. Like, yo, they didn't raise you to be like this.
Hmm.
But hey, it's his own dream. He getting money. He got attention. He got likes. He got this and that. So
He got
yeah,
a
we
house.
should
He got a
support
car.
him. You're holding him back.
it just
We've
like your
we've
little
bred a culture to where as yo, it's about me first.
yeah,
Fuck the family. So if y'all don't think that's gonna play into relationships, you're lost.
yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
I think that's the danger of it, right? It's like
Mhm.
it's the slowly creeping of the messaging into uh a unit that was like there's supposed to be a a barrier between the family unit and the outside world, right? Like there's supposed. I mean, I'm not saying you're immune to what's going on, but there's the way I go about uh for instance, the way I go about raising my kids will never be transactional. It's never going to be, what can you do for me in the future? And there's some that are out there like that. And when we talk about these type of conversations, I want to be clear. There are some parents that's out here like, oh yeah, I did this for you, you owe me. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that with some good sense that understand that they didn't ask to be here. You
That's
know,
a huge
I
ask.
it
Good
is that
sense.
what? Well,
Good
yeah,
sense is a
good
huge
sense.
ask.
Oh damn, my bad. I think because said, well, but what I'm saying to you is at the end of the day, when you're raising your children, it's not you're not I'm not calculating what I'm doing for them and putting it, in my register book to whip out for them later on, right? The
Mhm.
reality of the situation is that is the way I choose to care for them based based upon just the simple fact that they are a part of me. You get what I'm saying? They are a part of me. And when we talk about the institution of marriage, that is the same thing. My wife is a part of me. I'm caring for her as I would care for myself as much as I possibly can.
Right.
And and I would want her to view me in the same way, whether I have money, whether I don't have money, whether whether I'm in good emotional state or bad emotional state or good physical state, bad physical state. Like that's the way I look at it and the way I feel like it should be looked at. But I think that where we're getting to is a space where if you don't have money, if you don't have status, if you're not, doing certain things that people on the outside are deeming, the masculine qualities, which you're saying,
Mhm.
Nikhil, or bringing in those, or operating in your divine masculinity, you
Right.
know, then you it's almost as if you're undeserving of
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 love.
of love. You're
Yeah.
undeserving of being cared for. You're
Yeah.
undeserving of, and 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 to be honest with you, I think that the biggest issue that I'm having is our ability for black men. I'm just gonna speak from our standpoint. Black men's ability to be loved. I can't speak for white men. Is based upon what they do, and I don't think that that should be the correlation. I think that it's time for us to start really taking a look at how we are loving black men.
I want to ask you a question. When you say they're being loved for what they do, can you break that down a little bit more? Because
It's almost as if our identity, like, if you ask somebody, you ever ask somebody, like, tell me a little bit about yourself, right?
yeah,
Black man, first thing gonna tell you where they work. They're gonna tell you, they're gonna tell you about
We're conditioned
what
to answer
what
that way.
can yeah what yeah we're conditioned, right? And that conditioning is seeped into the way people view us as well. And so
Mhm.
when you're not doing, or we're not, we talk about providing a lot, and when you're not providing, meaning monetary things, then you're viewed as a liability. You're viewed as somebody that they don't,
Right.
you're not viewed at the same level. And they don't even think, a lot of times, that creates a lot of problems in the marriage, because you started to view, you could do everything else. I'm talking about black men that could be real good stay-at-home dads. Let's just say, the woman's out here getting it. You know what I'm saying? Getting
Mhm.
to the bag, whatever the case may be. But the guy is holding down the fort. You get what I'm saying? If a guy does that, even if he does a good job at it, he's still viewed as not
A liability.
valuable in the home.
Mhm.
If you flip that role, then that's, nobody's coming back and saying, "Oh, yeah, you didn't do anything today, ma'am." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You've been at home all day. You didn't do anything. Nah, a woman comes home to a man with his feet up, kicked up, watching some television, is
A
is
fight.
going to it's going to be something to talk
There's gonna
about.
be
It's like,
some tension
don't
in the house.
don't let all the T's not be crossed and all the I's not be dotted. I'm just being honest with you. And
Well,
and
I was gonna say it doesn't even have it, the issue is if you list it out. So the conversation I had, they listed out things that men do typically, right?
yeah.
Like, make sure cars are running right, can't change. I saw somebody say, if you can't change the oil, if you can't do this, like it's just all these lists of things that they had that we must know how to do. And you could do all of those things, but if the one thing you don't do, which is bring in the finances, is not equal or higher, then you're facing some level of cancer in the relationship. And that cancer could be aggressive and end it fast, or it could be a slow, progressive cancer that's just chipping away at the foundation of the marriage the whole time. And when I had posed the question, like, what if the woman's job or career or whatever generated $1 million, but the man's career and job generated $50,000? Should she leave him?
yeah, because he a broke boy.
But I'm
w-
saying
w-
that, but that's what society will tell you.
he's not on her level, right? He's
Right,
not
he's
on her
not on the
level.
level, and but the
Uh,
thing is,
but
you
good
got
father, good father can cook,
good father,
can take
good
care of
husband.
business,
He's romantic. He yearns for her and
thoughtful.
only faithful. All these other
But why
things.
should she have to settle for those things if that man has all those things, but he doesn't have money?
So I'm gonna say this: we're talking about the messaging that's out there. One of the other messages that you'll hear is, "Girl, if you get a man that has money, there's some things that come along with that that you just gonna have to accept.
You don't have to deal with. Yeah.
You're gonna
I
have
say
to
it all
deal
the
with a
time.
man that doesn't do the other listed items. He doesn't have to be caring. He doesn't have to be necessarily a good father. He's a good provider because people think provision is monetary.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a little bit, not long, just a little bit, because I think that there are some sisters out here that they'll say, "Well, I've dated men that don't make more than me. They're insecure, they,
Mhm.
but I my or they have issues, or there's there he always it always comes back to the money for him. They're always arguing about money or whatever the case may be. I would say that that there is a piece of that out there. What would you say to people that
Hold on, wait.
feel like
I
that?
have to jump
Yeah, go
into
go
that
ahead.
because that is true. There
Yeah,
are some men that are insecure. I've had conversations with men that have said I couldn't date a woman that makes more money than me because of the they said it without saying it, but they are insecure.
yeah,
But there are there are a lot of women out there who would date a man that makes less than them and would remind him of that shit every other day in some way, shape, or fashion. Like, I'll be 100 with you. My wife makes more than me, but you couldn't tell based on our relationship because the things that you stated about appreciating a man for the things that he does do versus
Mhm.
may not what he may necessarily have get highlighted. And the same thing for me. Like, my wife is an entrepreneur. She runs her own business. There's and for those of you who run a successful business, y'all know that shit takes a lot of time. So there are times where I don't see my wife where she travels, where I want to see her, but I understand that hey, she's busy, she got this, whatever. So I gotta step up. I do more cleaning. I do well, I say we'll split the cooking, but as far as like those day-to-day tasks, shit, I step up in those areas and she
Right.
appreciates and understands that because our relationship and others' relationship, and just want to notate this is going back to the family dynamic. It's about doing what's best for the family.
Yeah, because shit has to get done,
Like shit still
regardless.
has to get done. And I just want to, and I'll pass it on to somebody else. But I wanted to follow up on something I said later because thinking about it, it didn't sound right. In regards to like the OnlyFans type example that I used, I I meant those like, or the drug dealer. Like there are people to whereas that is their only option. Or they feel deep in their heart, I got to do this to feed my family. I got to do this to feed my kids. I got
I
to
mean,
do
they
this to
gotta
get my
eat.
mom or dad in a better situation, shit like that. So if
Mhm.
they're doing it for those reasons, Warren Pettis ain't judging. What I'm talking about is the people that say, hey man, this a quick lick, this easy money. So let me go out here and just show my dick, show my ass, whatever, whatever, because it's
Pause.
a quick grab. I can get this attention, I can get this likes. Now, if somebody's doing out of
I don't think
necessity,
anything, but Warren, I don't
yeah,
think anything's wrong with somebody saying that this is a quick lick. Like people have a right to make the choices that they make.
I agree.
And so whatever
But think about your
consequences that
family.
yeah, but
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, so consequences are what they are.
Yeah.
I think where it becomes a problem is when it's become part of the structure.
yeah.
So what
And
I
you
mean
start
by
to look
that,
at family
yeah,
is like that. You start to look
it
at
be,
family as
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
transactional.
I'm with you on
yeah.
that.
So it's like it's kind of like what I was thinking about earlier. It's like when you apply for a job and your name is Rashid. In this day and age, people most often will associate that with the black man.
Yeah.
So depending on who's looking at the resume, they've already made a decision about Rashid because of his name. The data shows that that's what's happening in our society. So
Yep.
I'm not race baiting or anything. There's data out there for it. And that's kind of what is happening with our relationship with our women. It's like they've already made up their minds about a man. And that's why I made the comment earlier, like black women are the new white men because they're coming into this situation and they are in a society that definitely leans women when it comes to child, the rights of a mother with their children, in terms of what the court does when the divorce happens, in terms of how many programs that are out there to help support the woman when she has children, but there's none out there that really support, or there's definitely not a plethora of programs that support men when they have the children. You know what I mean? Like it's our society, I said it twice, leans towards the benefits of women.
And
It's nothing.
I have to just because there isn't a woman present. If there is a young lady that is listening to this podcast, I've heard women say and also seen tweet that black men are the new white men in this world, and I would love to hear your responses and
I would
to why
argue
that is, because I mean what
because
Mikhail
it's
said.
easy if it's easier to prosecute us if they see us as the oppressor.
Yeah, 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 no, yeah,
So
no, no,
so
no,
the
no. I
convers
mean,
the
I'm
no, I'm
not
saying,
disagreeing with you, my
hold on.
brother. I just want to hear a different perspective because I've only seen and heard that said, but there wasn't any follow up behind it, and I want to,
No,
provide
I'm
that
telling you
platform
what was told
for
to
the
me.
women to say,
I'm telling
well,
you what was
nah,
told to
like
me.
this is why.
I'm telling you what was told to me.
Okay.
They don't say black men. They'll say men.
No,
This
I've
is
heard
a
black men.
man's world. This is the premise is the feminist movement. The feminist movement was a white woman's movement. So they spoke in the terms of their men, but they didn't say whiteness doesn't really exist. They'll say only thing that exists is blackness, right? Because they had to come up with a name for us because we're not like them. So when they speak, they say men. We say black men. We say Asian men. We say, Native American men. We are the ones that put the preamble to what we're identified as. And so when you hear a sister say men, and you try to say, well, as a black man, I'm not going to say all that. I'm saying men in general. I say, well, my experience is
It's
not
not
equivalent to this white man's
to the
experience.
white man's. Yeah, and
And that's what I'm saying. Like they can't process. When I say cultish, I'm saying they are stuck in a way of thinking despite the evidence that's being presented. It's kind of like when you watch those MAGA clips, and like the last one I saw
that
was when the dude flipped it on him. He's like, "Well, how do you feel about Biden sexual assault case?" They were like, "Oh, he's a terrible person." Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. That was Trump. How do you feel
that was
about Trump?
Trump.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know all the truth and this, that.
I,
So it's that type of thinking that I'm saying that is cultish. It's like when you look at the divorce rate and you look at the reasons for divorce and you look at who's filing for divorce, it's about finances, it's about women, it's about their perception of what should be happening.
all right,
It's not
let's
about
talk about.
abuse like it should be. It's not about cheating like it should be. It's about money.
and can I just throw in a
Let,
joke real quick before you go, Sam?
okay,
Before you
go
go, I
ahead,
just
go
gotta
ahead,
say a
go
joke in my house because my wife gets mad at any story she hears where a man leaves his wife and then like moves on with somebody else, like especially if she's younger.
It does
And
good, right?
let's say a woman leaves her husband and she's flourishing, like, yeah, I support that. So whenever she says this shit about the man, I'm like, hold on, wait. We don't know what that man was going through in his house. So just how you assume that she was going through some
Yeah.
shit, let's give that man the same grace. Oh, it's
People
it.
She
people
don't want to
You
hear
clown the
should
that.
see
shit
the look
out.
She
she
don't
gives
People
want
me
to.
every
clown the
time I
shit
say
out of
it.
Eric Benet.
I
Say
mean,
what?
People
oh yeah,
clown the
still
shit out
to
of
this
Eric
day,
Benet.
to
To
this
this
day,
day,
right?
they clown the shit out of Eric Benet.
So if I'm
Uh,
gonna give her that
but
grace, you give that brother
but
the same grace because we don't know
to
what he was going through. We don't know what she was
Right.
going through.
to be fair, Eric Benet clowns the shit out of himself. I seen him in concert, but he
Right.
knows he wasn't shit. But anyway, let's continue. The what I'm dealing with, and this is for me is subconscious. It's not. I don't know if this is conscious or if people listen to me and actually resonate, but I'm starting to feel, and this is just the feelings. The feelings ain't fact, but I'm starting to feel that black women are starting to feel too good for black men.
Hmm. That's what I'm talking about.
That's the feeling that I'm getting.
I'm better
There,
than you.
there's this idea that you know black
Black women
women.
supremacy.
It's not supremacy. I don't want to. I won't even go supremacy. It's for me. It's a value system. That's what I'm trying to figure. It's like it's not to say that they don't care about us. It's not to say that they don't. Um, it's just starting to feel that the black man is not enough. And I'm not saying that other men are because I don't think that they're marrying outside of their race at our rate. But it's the feeling of being enough, you
I
know.
I I have
Mm,
to disagree with you, but I'll explain my reason why.
go
It's
ahead.
Okay.
not that they don't want the black man, it's the type of black man they want. I have plenty of women friends who are single, beautiful, nice, um, but successful. And I'll say, hey, I just can't find a good man. And now I sound like the little, I don't know, it's a black red pill, whatever fucking podcast it is. When I say, okay, let's break down the type of man you want, and then they break him down, and he's in the top, especially for black men. He's like in the top 5% of men. So I'm like, baby, yeah, you want that type of man. It's just like, yo, that's like the 5% of men out of all the men that are out here. And these are just on the what are the factors? Like has nothing to do with their characteristics as a human being, how they can help their community, what type of person they are. This is just money, height, his occupation. They care about those men. But as far as like the average man, and alluding to something Mikhail said and something Sam said earlier, there was a man that passed not too long ago who was expressing the same message, but nobody heard him. But now his message is being heard because we're seeing it
Well,
in
so
real life.
wait,
Hey,
hold on.
no. Y'all just aren't as aggressive as he was.
No,
But these are
it's
some of the
not. It's
same
not the
It's not
points
same.
that.
I heard years ago. That's all I want to say.
So hold on. I'm gonna just say this: that what Kevin was talking about, but what Kevin Samuel was
Black
talking
family.
about, he mentioned he put black family in it, but what he didn't delineate was when we're talking about the maturity of the women. What he would denote in terms of high value male, this, that, and that,
He was
associated.
valuing people.
He was the value system was. He was talking about the value system, which to me is really a high school value system. Everybody, all the girls wanted the quarterback. He's a leader. He's athletic. He had social currency, currency. And ultimately, when they graduated from high school, they went to college. They want the big man on campus. Social currency, equal stability. They graduate from college. They want the top 5%. What does that represent? He has currency, which equals stability. And without stability, the black women, because I'm talking about black women, they feel anxious when they don't have stability. As a result of their anxiety, how they treat anxiety is activity. Their activity ends up generating money that creates stability. But because they've created stability and they didn't get it from a man, they look at you as a liability. And
Yeah, and
that's the devaluing. It's like
it's the respect for the man. It's the respect for the man, regardless of what he brings in from a financial standpoint. Because
and
the
that's hard to
respect
do when the only thing that you respect
is
is the
money.
currency. It's the currency.
And the
And
thing about
and
it
and
is we
I
can get
agree with
around
you.
it. We can tap
And
Social
dance
or
around it.
financial.
I,
Yeah,
I
we
I
can,
agree with that wholeheartedly, and he would have too.
and that's true. I think he would have, but what Mikhail is saying is it's how he categorized. It's like, okay,
No,
you're
I get you.
30,
I give you that. I
you know,
give you that. My boy
it's
used to
like,
wild.
oh,
My boy used to wild.
yeah, because it's
I
like
He
ain't
was
finna say my
you
boy
wilding.
went out here wild. I give
you
you
do that. Oh,
that.
oh, you're 30 and fat. Like you don't deserve love. It's
My
like,
boy used
nah,
to
bro. Like
wild.
because in that way he's devaluing the women in the
I
same way
agree
we saying men are
wholeheartedly.
being
I
devalued,
agree wholeheartedly.
and I think that he was trying to bring balance to the market, and he did it in a way that
Yeah,
he
my walk
wanted to
is
do it.
I'm not interested in tearing women down. If they feel
Yeah,
like they are the value that they have, I'm all for it. Now, can your self esteem be too high? Yeah, they're called narcissists. So the thing is that you got to be mindful of the fact that our job and back to marriage is to raise these kids in a healthy environment. That takes time, that takes money because of the society that we live in America. Because if we live somewhere else, it'll be different. We probably have enough land that we could farm. Then my value is I can farm that land, and you can't tear me down. But because our systems are based on services and
yeah, we all doing the
software,
same thing.
we all doing the same thing.
And if you
So
want to be real
you
about
got
it,
to have a reset.
and you want to be real about it, you know, with attractive women, I say especially attractive women get a share of the market that nobody else can get.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like if you want to be real about it, because now we're in the visual world, we're in the social world, we're in the marketing world, and you know who they put in front of things. And so it's like then that's a whole nother space, arena, opportunity that a lot of men can't even get in. You can't even get in that lane. You know what I'm saying? And
And not
so
be respected. That's just
exactly,
that's
exactly.
better.
And so the way I view it is, it it's about not. I mean, it's like I said, we're not trying to tear anybody down. I just want us to be viewed as enough, and I think that's the battle that I have, because when y'all was talking about like women, y'all girls making, y'all's wives making more than y'all. I'm sitting here thinking like, bro, I haven't even had to think about it. I know me and my wife is going, because me and my wife are like right there. We've gone back and forth uh, over our years,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't even think about, like, that's not even like, I don't even have a thought about who made more when. I'm just being honest with you. That's not even a an aspect of conversation. I may play around, like when she gets a second or
Mm-hmm.
third job, I'll be like, oh shit, now I get to be, you know what I'm saying? I get to be stay at home dad. But the reality of the situation is that's never been a point of contention in my home. But I don't know how I would feel if that ever came up. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. If that ever became a conversation that me and my wife had to have, outside of surviving and supporting our children. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
when it comes to like when it's like, oh, we can't eat this month. Okay, we got to have some conversations about money, funding, what.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about, if we're doing fine and we're having that kind of conversation, I have to look at it like, damn, like, she's making, let's just say she's making $40,000 more than me, and now she's just like, oh, I don't feel like you're motivated enough. I don't feel like you're doing this, and like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? And for certain careers, they're just it's designed in a way. We live in a
Right.
Yeah.
capitalistic society, right? And so we know that there are barriers for every level of money being made out here outside of entrepreneurs spaces. And even there's barriers there too, but I'm just talking about like the
Well, they have
regular.
their ceilings are more defined by
E-
their activities versus
exactly,
what the industry
exactly.
like it comparatively like therapists are on par for what a teacher would make.
Yeah,
Right. So when people talk about teachers don't get paid, therapists generally don't get paid. And it's in a general sense. Of course, there are other things that we can do that would be more entrepreneurial to increase what we make. But as a rule, especially if you work for like the state or things of that nature, you ain't making no money.
you ain't making the money. Yeah,
And so you're not doing it for the money. However, the world that you live in, the
requires
serve
money.
requires the money, and therefore they'll judge you, even though you're doing like I'm this is my personal thing.
No,
Even though you doing good in the community, you doing good things for the people, man. You ain't. That's all you making. You ain't shit,
Hey,
and that's how it feels. That's
Malcolm
how
X
it
ain't have
feels.
a lot of money when he died.
And so and I think that perception is leading us to two things, right? The diminishing of the family, right? But
Mhm.
then it's also it's also slowing down the start of the families as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's putting our people in a position. I mean, and it's starting. The numbers are starting to be very clear that we're not getting married anymore.
Oh God.
Like, it's there's no, and we're not even we're in Atlanta. This is the most single city in the nation.
Is it now?
It is the most single city in the nation.
Is it
People
single?
are
You mean single or
more
divorced too?
no more people are living by themselves
Yeah,
in
I saw that
Atlanta
report the other day.
than any other city in the United States.
No, I know. I'm saying I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure out where did the population come from? Does it come from straight bachelorhood, or are there any, or is it divorcees? Because it
Well,
was
I mean,
something.
if you think about it, it's probably both,
That's probably a
right? So
combination of both.
it's a combination of both,
But
but
going going
both speak to the deterioration of the family.
but going back to something I spoke about earlier in the pod was, I mean, fuck it. Take a man that makes 50,000 or 100,000 more than a woman. I don't think either man or woman are in this day being taught the skills to cultivate a relationship. I think most
Mm.
people today are, well, in the US, are too selfish to be in a relationship. Like we don't emphasize family, we don't emphasize conflict resolution. We emphasize me. Like it's about what I want,
I mean,
what
but how
I
can it?
need.
How
And
can
those
it
things as
emphasize?
opposed to, you know what, going back to when you said we were a system to whereas we bartered, like that was in a relationship to whereas the hunter gatherer, the wife took care of, the kids, the man went out and hunt. Versus, okay, now we in a society to whereas, look, all right, we ain't got sticks hunting animals or nothing, but shit, if there's a woman out there that can hunt that goddamn money down like no other, and then you got a man that can be the best father, best community, the best person in PTA meetings because he isn't working as much or in that same role, like those people can combine or vice versa, but we don't see that because it's about my needs as opposed to what's best for us, what's best
Well,
for our community.
it's about what other people see too.
Oh,
It's
facts.
about it, it's
Facts.
about the pressure of, you know, saying, "Oh, it's an embarrassment for you to be like, oh yeah, my husband is doing the X, Y, and Z. He's the PTA guy.
House husband.
Yeah, the house husband." The reality is, no one, most women don't want to say that. You know what I'm saying? And
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 most men
and I,
don't want the title.
and
Let's keep it
that's true.
real.
That's true. Most men don't want that title either. So, but the reality is, we were talking about the greater good. You get in where you fit in, right? That's what community is. That's what family is
Yeah,
supposed to
but
be.
Sam,
And
we said it earlier. Like I think how you put it was a man, or maybe it was Warren that said a man doesn't want to get married until his money's right. A woman will divorce you because the money's not right. Like it's still, it's money is
it's
still,
all about the
it is
money.
the money is the love of that money is destroying the family. The potential for a family is destroying the actual family. Like because ain't nobody over here starving. Lights is on, right?
Yeah.
The everybody got clothes. So why is it that we have this anxious mentality where destruction is before us, and that type of tension has turned back into the marriage? Like, what are we gonna do? But what are you talking about? We just I had barbecuing, and like what? Why are you bugging? What's going on?
You
What is
know
the
what,
urgency that
bro?
that the mentality is?
It
Let's destroy this, or let's not create this, because like I
yeah,
said, the men don't want to get married until
yeah.
they, I've had this conversation with men in session. Like, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna settle down, man. I just gotta get my ducks in a row. And I was like, why? That's not what
Why?
marriage is.
Shit, I was one of them
Well,
niggas.
well, I say
There
this
you go. There
crazy.
you go.
It's actually interesting that we're having this conversation because me and my wife just had this conversation like literally last week because we're talking about career growth, but not because we want more money. We're just talking about career trajectory,
Right.
right? And she's in a space where she doesn't manage anybody, but she makes good money, and I manage people, and I do all right. And but I have the stress that comes along with managing people is a lot,
Mhm.
right? And so, but she's been kind of like trying to grow in her career a little bit, and then we're just kind of sitting. It's just like, okay, so you know, I'm in a space right now where I feel like I've checked the boxes. I'm just being honest with you. Like I feel like, you went to college, check.
Yeah.
Got a house, check. I'm, I got my family, check, right? So I'm just like, okay, so, you know, I can continue to climb a ladder. You know what I'm saying? I can. I'm not saying that I will or won't, whatever the case may be. But I like the stress of wanting to do it is like, yo, what are we stressing about? Like,
Mhm.
I was like, do we have everything we need? She's like, yeah, we got everything we need. I was like, do our kids have everything they want? Like everything that they need, want and,
Mhm.
could desire. And not just that, like, I don't give them everything, but just in general, like, are they okay? Are our kids straight? She was like, yeah, our kids are straight. I was like, so why are we stressing about, this next phase in life? Is it just because we've been taught we got to keep going? Like, Is it because we've been taught like we have to get to a certain point? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Or is it just like you talk about conditioning? Like for me, it felt like conditioning. I was like, why do you want more stress? I was like, your next step is you're gonna be managing people. Is that what you want to do? She's like, hell no. I was like, okay, so you know, because you're right now you're like lower level man. Now you'll be real like middle level management. Is that what you want?
Right.
Nah, that's not what I want. Is your salary okay? Yeah, I'm good with my salary. I, you know, chill. Like start getting the balance in other areas. Like
Right.
but I think it's because you're saying the love of the money makes us do these things. And you don't even realize, like, bro, could be taking a step that's to the detriment of my family.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, and we're good right now. I could be taking a step forward that takes me away from my kids, away from my personal, things that I like to do, away from, the balance that I currently have. And, and all of it because I love money.
Yeah.
She could take a promotion, that shit take her out the game, make her feel like, and I'm not trying to, she can do whatever she wants. If she want to do
Sure.
it, I'm for it. But if she doesn't want to do it and it becomes a nightmare for her, that could be a pin in our relationship.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
You're bringing that
And
tension home.
it can bring that tension home. And it's like, we were doing it without even thinking about it, bro. Like I'm thinking about my next promotion and I'm good. Like I'm just being honest, like I'm good. Like I'm in a space where I'm not stressed. I've kind of gotten an understanding of what I gotta do. I'm a
Hmm.
high performer where I'm at. You get what I'm saying? It's not like I'm but subconsciously, I feel like if I don't do more, then I'm not gonna be valued. So I continue to, you
To
get what I'm
push.
saying?
Yeah.
I continue to push myself. And I don't even know why.
I mean, but I'll tell you something that's really scary is that, our rates of self harm are up.
Oh, I know
And
a
and
couple of reasons why.
part of that, yeah, because part of that is this conversation we're having. Like, I don't know why I found I am valued less because of what I bring in economically. Like, even though kids are fed, even though lights are on, even though, and we're talking about marriage, even though I have a partner, and in that relationship, it should be us, like what you said like if I bring in whatever I bring in, we are one.
Yeah,
If you bring in the most and if she bring in the most is one ish.
it's one ish. Yeah, we want.
Yeah.
Like we're
It's
not
like, yeah,
one. We're like,
yeah. When I
yeah,
bring the money in, oh, we won. This is what. Then
yeah,
she bring it in, and that's not my wife. I'm just saying the
Yeah.
the
society starts.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Yeah, the
sentiment, yeah,
concept is when the woman brings it in, it's like we won ish. Don't get comfortable over that nigga. Like,
yeah, like it is just incredible. But that's what it comes down to, and this is not anything other than an observation. I don't. My contention or my concern is the cry for help is for men that have been brought to the brink where they don't feel any value. Like the DJ that was for
Ellen.
Ellen DeGeneres,
uh, uh,
because he made a bad investment that took out his money. He kissed his wife and went and killed. It's like what?
That's what
crazy.
happened. I never knew that was
Yeah,
what
Yeah,
happened.
it said it man was some crypto or something.
yeah. He had
You
a
know,
bad crypto investment, and it put him into financial ruin. So he decided to take his own life instead of talking to the people that cared about him and or maybe he didn't feel like he had people that saw past his financial gain. I don't know, but that is not what God intended. So women, when y'all come here with this biblical stuff, you have to remember, is this what God intended? If you're gonna do something based on the premise of what you find is divine femininity and that is God is about family. That's why marriage existed. Are you doing what's best for the family? Are you doing what's best for you? And I just think we need a reset because what we're doing right now is not working. The data shows that somebody's mindset is off. At
Um,
first, it used to be they could just focus on us and be
Eh,
like, y'all cheating, y'all abuse it,
yeah, yeah.
y'all, like, but that ain't even the conversation no more.
It's not
I
it
mean,
no
that's
more.
still
You're
there though.
right. I mean, it's still
It's still
there,
niggas
But
doing that.
but
let's be keep it real. The
no,
Yeah,
majority is not
it,
about that.
it's not that.
Hell,
It's
the
not
divorce
that.
rate don't even show that. When you look at the reasons for divorce, infidelity, you would think that'd be at the top of, because technically that is the
It
only way you could divorce. Is
irrec
like,
now you're hitting a bunch of irreconcilable differences. And to
that's
your
right.
point, Warren, I said Lauren. To your point, Warren, it's about solving the problems.
Yeah.
Getting to the point where you can look at the problem and say, okay, I'm not the problem, you're not the problem, it's us against the problem. But instead, we have become, you know what I'm saying? It's like we always talk about the divide, but it's clear that it's two sides that just
yeah.
don't want to get
We don't take
along.
the time to listen to each other. We don't take the time to understand each other. Like it's kind of like we're being fed shit through our algorithms, whatever it may be, to whereas, you supposed to do this, you supposed to do that. Like my wife now uses this example earlier, and I've shared this on the pod before, to whereas when I got married, it was men and women telling me what I needed to do for my wife, what she should expect from me,
Mm,
versus not a fucking soul told her, hey, focus on Warren's happiness and things of that nature. So
Mhm.
when I'm having this conversation, I wanted to reiterate. I know it's a lot of fuck niggas out here, ladies. I know it's a lot of fuck niggas out here, ladies, that y'all shouldn't deal with at all. But at the same time, I'll give you an example. There's a nice young lady at the gym I go to. We have conversations about her. She's single, dating. Since I'm married, she'll pick my brain on certain stuff. And she'll give me scenarios to where it's like, all right, you should look out for this. Okay, he was wrong there. But I joke with her, it's like, all right, now what did you do? And then when it comes to like what she did, it's like, well, I'm this way, I'm that way. And I'm like, all right, so you kind of expect perfection from these men. And then I'll ask her, like, are you perfect? Well, no, I'm not perfect. So how can you put that on somebody else? Well, these men created that expectation.
Did we?
So you don't think you created expectation with these men that you fall short of? And that y'all should take the time to work these problems out and grow together and learn and stuff like that? It's like, well, I mean, I get what you're saying, but the man's supposed to be a leader. And I'm like, okay, that
There it
ah,
man can be
is.
a leader and not
there it
be
is.
perfect. You read any autobiography of the greats, they will tell you, hey, I fucked up and I learned from it. That was allowed me to grow. And it's no different. And this goes for men too. Like, yo, some of y'all niggas be out here, man, sure you don't do shit. Sure, have you ever communicated that to her? Man, she gonna act this way if I communicate this to her. Yeah,
Mhm.
but it at least needs to be brought to the
It need to
table
be put on
so
the
she's
table.
aware of it, and now you can hold her accountable for it instead of thinking she's a fucking mind reader. And that also goes on the other side as well.
So
But
I'm a,
what
that's
I
that.
I'm
what I
I'm
heard,
giving
hold
y'all
on,
relationship
go,
game
hold on,
right
let me
now,
just say
but that's
something.
it.
That just made me think of something. So basically, the premise of um the man is, let me make as much money as possible so I could just be like, you know what, I make all the money. Shut the fuck up. Basically, because I'm not gonna bring up the rest of the stuff that you should be doing. I'm just gonna make
mm,
as much money as I can,
so I can shut
and
you up.
so I can just shut you up.
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
gonna,
Oh,
no.
hey, I,
That's
I, me and my wife
so.
have had this
Well,
conversation.
uh,
If our daughter or my nieces dated an athlete, entertainer that had a reputation of being out there, and I'ma tell her, hey, you're dating this man. I want you to know these are the things that may occur. You seen this reputation, you getting wined and dined and all this other shit. You can call my phone crying, but please don't expect sympathy
uh,
because I'm going to hold you accountable because you knew what you were getting into. If
I
this
say
is the
this.
type of man you
Mhm.
want, because my wife had said, she's like, that's kind of fair. I said, yo, if my son, and I know y'all ladies think I hate Meg Thee Stallion, I love her. I think she's an amazing black woman, beautiful, doing well, getting business. But based on the things that we have heard in regards to her relationships and with her relationship with her friends, she may do some fuck shit. So if she's like, what if our son dated Meg? I'm telling my son the same thing. Hey, Meg taking care of your bills, paying you, flying you out and different shit. Hey, if she cheat on you, shut the fuck up,
You don't have to
enjoy
deal.
it, because you signed up for this. You
I,
have
s- I
seen scenarios to where it's like, this is the type of life you're going to get. You, hey, it's good and bad and everything. Nothing
I
is ever going to be perfect. Is it right? No. But this is just what it is. So we
I
can't pick and choose what we want and not be willing to deal with the yin or the yang part of it.
and I think that that's the part. It's the patriarchal system that we have that women are trying to dismantle and use at the same time. So it's like we want patriarchy when it's for our benefit, but we don't when it's not, right? And so
Mhm.
the reality of the situation is they're out here living their lives, becoming breadwinners, right? But they also want men to fall into their traditional categories when nothing is being done traditionally. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
but
so
I wanna say something to that real quick.
yeah,
But you, when you say the traditional aspect, if you look in the history of man, you want a traditional man. Traditionally, the niggas that have got the most money have always had multiple women, live lavish
All
lifestyles.
right, Kevin
In the
Samuels.
good book,
to
Jesus himself says, it's hard for a rich man to get into heaven
get into
because he
heaven,
has
yeah.
heaven on earth. So just think about that. Like I tell everybody that. Just think about that
not,
before you get in
not,
situations, whether it be man or woman.
I,
Remember
I,
that line.
I hear that 100%, and I think that the biggest issue is we have to continue to find value in one another that's not attached to money.
Well, you know
It
what it has. Money's easy to talk about. It's not
yeah,
easy to tell somebody they breath stink. It's not like, and I'm using that as an extreme. Like when
yeah,
you look at the core
Sometimes
of
it's
why
good though.
these relationships are failing, it's because there's no real friendship. Friendship is something that's built with interaction, communal interaction. Women, you say you want to have a friendship with your spouse, and the fact of the matter is y'all don't do friend shit. Like y'all don't plan. I used to plan cookouts with my friends, right? So that meant one, we just decided to do something that was exciting. Two, we all rolled to the stove to go pick up the chicken and beer. You know what I mean? Like, and
Get a little liquor.
just and those experiences, what happens
Eat.
is that while we at the stove, we may see some wild shit, or we may see something that we can laugh about that ain't got nothing to do with us individually. It's just a shared experience, and that's what's missing in this relationship. Like everybody paper chasing, and there's no shared experiences except for vacations, and then those are awkward because y'all ain't did nothing
to
locally
build that
to
friendship.
build the friendship. So just kind of keep that in mind. I didn't make that
Uh,
advice. I got it from two separate marriages, 35 years and 40 years respectively, and I'm trying to implement that in my own life. So I'm not
yeah,
putting anything out there I'm not trying to do myself.
too real, Mikhail, man. I think that we can end on that, bro. Everybody out here paper chasing. We need to be people chasing people. We need to
And,
be we need to be people chasing. We need to chase each
hey,
other, not just running after the bag. Because when you run after the bag, you become a whore to the fucking bag, and your relationship
whores.
become one to it too. With that being said, I think we've
What's my
gotten
man?
this
Hey,
topic
what my
really
man
good.
say? Whore. What was
Whore,
it?
you
Black
whores,
youngster.
Whore.
black youngster. Yeah. With that being said, man, more conversations like these, please like, follow, share,
Subscribe.
subscribe, all the share the
Yeah.
YouTube, hit the bell, the notification bell. I'm Sam Dupe, and I'm
Ow.
good.
Hey, I'm Tel McKell and I'm good.
I'm Warren P and I'm good.
And just like that, we are out,
Yeah.
people.